Yay. So we're going to be harvesting from our garden, getting some items for soup. We're going to be making our soup, uh, getting it started, and then we're going to come back and do some more harvesting. So this is going to be a harvest and soup making video, depending on how long it gets. If it gets too long, then we will only make the soup. But it's a good day to garden and eat. So let's get started. All right, so here's our garden. Let's get started with our soup. I thought I brought my cutters. So first things first, let's get some of the basics for our soup. So let's go into our kitchen. And while we're harvesting, to save us on time, let's get our broth and our meat going. So I'm also this, so let's get this on. We're putting it on full high. And we are I have some chicken broth already. So let me get it out. This is bone broth. I like this, is really good, high in protein. So this is one of my meals that helped me lose weight, and I still eat it. Now I'm in the maintaining my weight loss phase. So it's very light. It's a light soup, but it's warm and it's good. Now we do have other things that we grew from our garden, such as potatoes and carrots. But we're not adding them to this soup because the holidays just passed and the holidays are just starting. So we are transitioning from holidays. We had holiday eating, and then we had birthday eating, and then we had repast eating, and now we are going to go back to another set of holiday eating. So in order to maintain where I'm at, we're going to be making some high protein soup, high protein, low carb soup from our garden. So this is chicken bone broth. I usually just sip it, but I'm adding it in our soup today. And we have some leftover chicken. So, you know, when you get those rotisserie chickens, you just have little pieces left, scraps. I'm not trying to make a sandwich at this stage, but we are not going to be making sandwiches because, again, the holidays are coming and the holidays just left. So I'm cutting off the meat off the bones. I'm going to just drop it in there. We're also going to add some water to this soup too. And I'm just going to be breaking apart some of our bones. They actually start to fall apart once they're in there. So I'm just going to be breaking it apart, just dropping it in. Everything kind of like dissipates over time. So this soup is going to be boiling for a while. So we're just going to have it sitting there. But I want it to be boiling while we go get the rest of our fruits and veggies. I mean, the rest of our veggies for our soup. So let me add some water. See, this way you want a pot filler right there. But it's not far. It's just a hand reach away. So I'm going to add some water. So I did half pot broth, half pot water. The goal is eventually this water will evaporate and be mostly broth. But we're going to let this, I want to bring it to a boil and then turn it down. So that's what I like to do. Just speed up the process. So I'm going to bring it to a boil and then put it on low and let it simmer. So it doesn't take long to get to the boil. So yeah, so we had some extra rotisserie chicken. You know, everywhere, a lot of our big box stores has the rotisserie chicken now. So we had that before we went on our adventure. So now we're going to just be putting it in here. So we're just going to let that come to a boil. Probably while I'm out there harvesting from the garden, our soup harvest, I will come back and turn it down. So now let's go get our soup veggies. What are we putting in our soup? So we have things that we're going to put in our soup from the beginning and things that we're going to put in our soup that we're cooking down in the soup, and items we're going to put in our soup to maximize our flavor that we want. We'll let it take its time. We'll put it in at the end. So first thing first, celery. At one point I was like, I'm I might have to juice this celery because we have so much. We have two of them. I have celery growing here and celery growing on the other side. So we got our celery plant here, basically overreaching to some of our other plants. So we're gonna harvest our celery from there. Let's see if I can give you guys a good, there you go. So we just clip the celery from the base. You smell the nice celery smells releasing. This celery is doing pretty good. Last time I checked it, it had roots, someone else's roots in it, and it still did very well. So we got our celery here. This is more than enough celery to go in the soup. It is going to, the celery flavor is very strong, so it'll probably overpower. So I'm not putting too much in there. A lot of these flavors are very strong because they are growing fresh out of the garden. And they didn't sit down in the grocery for any time. So the flavors are at maximum flavorness. So let's get some scallion out. See how, deciding how much I want to take. Because again, these flavors become very strong, and that's a very small pot of soup. So right now I'm just looking for things I want in my soup. We can add some Swiss chard in there. So we're gonna harvest two pink. There is a red one over there that needs harvesting. So I'm gonna leave that. And then some spinach. Spinach is also always nice in soup. It kind of disappears sometimes. And spinach is nice. I like spinach with pasta and pasta meals. Those are my two favorite things to do with the spinach. I mean, I put them in salads, but the pasta meals and the sauce is great. So of course we just clip from the root of our spinach, and that's how we clip our spinach. You got some, these are just hanging on here. I don't know how they're feeling. They look like they're going through life. Sometimes you don't harvest enough, they start to wither. The smaller ones start to wither away. Let's put this to the side because those look like they were starting to wither. So let's keep on. Well, this plant is all the way over here. All right, so we got a little leak going there. We're gonna fix that. Okay, so we got some spinach for our soup. We got a lot of flavor. I would definitely want some rosemary, and let's see. This rosemary is, how big is it? Let's see how big it is. Because we have 3 plants of rosemary. Oh, it's pretty good. It's growing down there, but I think the other one is bigger. We're not putting any cilantro in our soup or dill. We're not putting any mince. We have a lot more celery here. That's going to be in when we come back in a few minutes. We have a lot of rosemary in this area here. So we have this area here has a lot of plants. We definitely need to thin them out and figure out what's going on here. We have a tomato plant that's flourishing. We have a very long rosemary plant that is reaching around to touch the light. You know, the plant is still small. I do have some dried rosemary, and I also have rosemary in the other room that has a lot of room to grow. And then we have kale down there. And the kale is not supposed to be staying down there. It needs to go outside, but outside is frozen. So let's get some parsley. We got some parsley down here for our soup. So let's get out some of our parsley to get that good flavor in. Just reaching, the parsley is just growing in between some of these plants. So I'm just gonna get a little clip off of the parsley, and then we are gonna go to our other plant and get some, I don't think I'm gonna put any peppers in there. Oh, I wanted to get some red Swiss chard. Let's do that. Let's get some of our red Swiss chard. This plant has been growing for a while. See how long the stem is? This plant's been growing for over a year. So we've had this Swiss chard that's just been giving us Swiss chard leaves for over a year. The red one. That was the original, came with the plants. All right, so we're not putting any mint in there. Let's go get our rosemary. I brought a bowl to put these things in, and no one is in the bowl. So let's put the rosemary in the bowl. Rosemary is very good for soup. Oh, is that some of our peppers growing? Let's check. This is the first time in here for today. You guys are gonna see. So this is our larger peppers. They've been growing now, but these peppers are in here. We just put them the other day, less than a day ago. We started putting together these peppers. So this is our banana peppers. And our sorrel plant is here. They take very long to germinate. Last year they took 4 months to germinate. So I'm just gonna leave them here for the long haul. I know they take forever to germinate, so here they are. But our little plants are germinating here already. And then these plants have been here. I just rotate where they're at. Pretty soon we have to put them in our garden, which I haven't, our green stock, which I haven't put together yet. But as soon as we put together, maybe it'll be today, we will plant those in there. The holdback for the mostly on that plant is the light setup. I haven't done the light setup. That's what's taking me so long. All right, we have our rosemary here. So let's cut this back. Oh, now you guys are really balancing on the tripod. I need to hold it and cut it. So we're gonna cut this back. Get a nice amount of rosemary. People say this is good for tea. I haven't put it in my tea. These lettuce plants right here are drinking it up. Like, they're going through this whole bottom in a day. They are really having themselves a good time. I'm gonna start harvesting this lettuce. It's growing very large and it's drinking the water so fast. That's one thing about hydroponic plants. They grow really, really quickly. And in like a pot, this, first of all, this is not even hydroponic. This top part is soil right here. And then down here is water, but it went straight through, it cut through the soil and went straight to the water. And it's drinking the water super fast. That's what happened when I had them in those I had peppers growing in gallon milk containers, ones I use for the food, for the water, to set the water. And it drinks it so quickly. So this was 2 days ago I filled this up, and it's already, the plant has drunk through all the water. So once it has access to water, it just grows super fast. Sometimes too quickly. But don't worry, we have, for lunch, we have soup, and we have pizza and lettuce today on the menu. So soup is going to be our main meal, and we're going to have some pizza and salad, excuse me. So this is what we harvest for our soup. We got rosemary, we got a lot of Swiss chard, celery, parsley, some more Swiss chard. And we're going to be putting this in our soup. So let's carry this there. I hear it. It sounds like it's over boiling. It's time to turn down the water. See, yes, it's not over boiling yet. All right, so now let's put it on low. So yeah, once it gets started, then I put it on low, as you can see. And then this kind of starts to fall apart. So I broke it up just enough to fit into the pot. However, it falls apart like fully. So let's start adding our stuff in. I'm gonna give it a rinse. What do I want to add in first? I do want to get this rosemary in because it smells so nice. And I love the smell of the rosemary. I either break them apart, cut them with our snip clippers. So I'm just gonna cut this in like this. The full flavor. It smells so good in the house. As soon as you get it in, it starts to smell great. Now the green ones, it boils down pretty smoothly. However, as you can see right here, it's more like woodsier. These sticks, I do not just drop them in the pot. If I was doing baked chicken, I would rotisserie chicken, but I don't want the kids to get hurt, so I usually leave it out. So I just cut when it's green, I cut the green parts off, but then once I see like the super woody parts where it has already turned hardened, I don't drop it in the pot for soup. Again, for seasoned meat in general, I do. It's fine, but this, the kids will just be drinking and it's very hard. So I just peel it off and we just don't put the stick in there. All right, so we have our rosemary in there. It just adds, it makes it smells so good, and it smells great throughout the whole house. That's always the first thing I like to put in is the rosemary. Then we have our celery and our scallions. Let me rinse off our celery. Our pink celery full of nutrients. It is going to be slow boiling, so a lot of the nutrient nutrients are coming out, but they're going into the water. But what's good, I like about these harder stem veggies with the soup just kind of takes care of that. So I cut it up. I usually use a knife for this, but this is easier. So you just clip it down, and it makes it nice and smooth and easy to chew on. The kids doesn't bother the kids. Yeah, because sometimes the stems are hard for them to chew, especially the little one. She just got teeth, and the older one, her teeth are on their way out. They're replacing themselves. So they're growing in at different lengths. They're at different height. They're all at different stages. She got teeth coming out, teeth growing in. So I chop up the celery very small. The stems. Even when I make salads, I chop them very small. It's a very short chop for the kids. It makes it easier for them to chew. I chop up the lettuce. This is soup, so it's gonna boil down. See, and blow my nose. All right, now we have our scallion. Now, scallion is something that when you leave it in there too long, it kind of loses flavor, but it tastes good. So I'm gonna be putting some in now and saving some to put in closer to when the soup is done. So we got our scallion in here. The big veggies are going to take long if I try to do it this way. So I'm going to definitely use a knife to cook down our spinach and our Swiss chard. That's going to replace our pasta. Now for the kids, because they do eat carbs, I usually just pour this on, they make like ramen. So we can make some ramen. And I'll pour some of this on top of their ramen with an egg. And that's how they'll drink this. And if I was not going from holiday to holiday, I would too also. I would add some noodles one day, add some potatoes another day. So, we get a little little mixture of different types. So this would be my main soup. But then whatever carb, I would just add it in that day. I wouldn't add it in from now and cook down the soup with the carbs. Right now I'm here breaking up some of the chicken. Again, as I said, as it cooks down, it starts to break up. So I was just breaking up some of the chicken. Nutmeg. Put some of this parsley in. And then chop up our Swiss chards. We got quite a few Swiss chard and spinach. We got a few chards and a few spinaches. I did leave back some celery. So we got quite a good amount of chard here. And some scallions. The celery is going to just be put away for some juicing. And the scallion I'm going to use later on today in the soup when the soup is more close to being finished. So let's chop this up. All right, so we have that off. Let's do a little chop here to the side. And I'm just chopping them on the counter. See, we got a lot of stuff going on. Our team member in charge of dishes didn't do it. They took the night off. What I have found is, so I just kind of roll them up and then chop them. Leave the countertop a little white. So this is our pasta, so to say. So yeah, so I mix what carbs I add, and I control what carbs I add to the soup by the day. So like today, I'm not eating it with no carbs. The kids are going to be eating theirs with noodles. Maybe, if I feel a little less like I've been eating so much, I will add some potatoes the day of that I'm eating the soup. I'll cook some potatoes on the side. From our garden, we got some potatoes right there in the bowl from our garden, and some of our potatoes we need that are starting to seed. So I'm going to be starting them indoors in our green stalk also. So that's why we have to get that green stalk set up. And as I said, if we have some energy and time today, we will do that today. But here we go. Here is our soup. So we're going to let that cook down, simmer down, and then enjoy our soup. I have not added any salt to it, so I'm going to add some now. And I don't really think it needs to be spicy. Let me just add some salt. We got some pink Himalayan salt here that we're going to add. Sometimes a little kick is good. So we're putting a little pinch of salt there. I don't add too much again because I know, there you go. I don't add too much because I know the girls are going to be eating this with a lot of salt. And then I let that simmer. So I don't add too much salt. So that's how I make my soup. We're going to let that simmer while we go and harvest some more. So there's a lot of things on our garden that need. Our garden is very bushy, so we're going to harvest and reorg if needed. All right, so we got a lot of spinach up there. We got a lot of sorrel. I'm going to leave our lettuces to do their thing. So I eat them on the fresher. I like eating fresher lettuce since I do eat them more often. So we're going to cut down this spinach. We're going to cut it back. Again, I'm cutting the tall ones. You cut the ones on the outside. With spinach, it's not like lettuce where it's very uniform the way it grows. Spinach, they're just growing all in between. So with lettuce, let's see if we can find lettuce. This one, I haven't grown it. It grows on the outside, and you just keep taking the outside ones and the inside, the head part, just keeps bundling. You just keep taking the outside. With spinach, they're growing in the middle. So, excuse me. So I just take the tall ones. We have our, what do you call it again here? Our cucumbers here that are going through a lot. So we are going to have them. We're going to take some time to check on them. Probably not in this video, but we can see they're going through a lot. Usually I cut back the bottom part, the new ones. So we will see if that is something that can help, but we need some time to really look at our cucumbers to see how they're going. So yes, I just cut the big ones, a little extra string or somebody. So the bigger leaves. And How many spinach plants we have? We have 2. So I was gonna say I would eat from this one. I think I might freeze those for hot dinners. So when I freeze them, I then I rinse them, put them in a Ziploc bag in the freezer, and then they're good for days that I want to eat cooked spinach. However, the other ones I leave for days that I want to have fresh spinach, like spinach for salad. So we have different ways of storing the spinach. So this one we're just gonna rinse, put it in a bag and put it in the freezer, and we'll have our spinach, this spinach in the soup or in a pasta sauce or sauce. I keep saying it's pasta sauce and then I don't put it in pasta. All right, we have our Swiss chard. This one, something was eating it. We have been using our soap water mix to fight whatever it is. So they ate that Swiss chard. They were like, it was hungry. They ate the Swiss chard. It's okay. I usually leave like three leaves on. I don't know what comes from. I leave about 3 leaves on the Swiss chard. That's what's left back. This one's very good for seasoning. Again, the tall ones, so I don't just grab them, and they grow in between like the spinach. Depending on how many plants I have. So spinach, I have a whole nother spinach plant over there. So I'm going to leave that one for fresh, if I want fresh stuff. But this one's very good for seasoning. So I like to use it for seasoning. And I'll leave back, we have another plant outside. So I'm not going to leave back too much on this one because I'm going to put this in the freezer. And then when I want fresh, I go to the other plant when I want to have to season some food, then I'll come to this plant. This one here. I mean, when I want fresh, I go to the one outside, and when I want to season food, I can go to the freezer and take out some. This could also be dried. Sometimes I leave it to dry and put it in a jar, but I kind of go through this quickly. So we got quite a lot of. And everyone likes this. This one is not one that, it has so many uses. All the kids like it. I like the lemony zing. Oh, I'm going to be making, my kids requested pasta. So not today, but tomorrow I'll probably be making them pasta. So I'm going to leave the spinach. I'm not going to freeze. I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator, and then they can have that there. So this is our red sorrel that we are cutting down. Get everything nice and neat and cut down. The other plant, there's so much going on over there, but a lot of those plants need to be thinned and moved out. So this is what we got so far. So far we got some sorrel, some spinach, some Swiss chard. This spinach, now I remembered I promised the kids, they requested some spaghetti. I'm going to add that in there. So I'm not going to freeze it. All right. Everything else, this plant is massive. It opens, it blooms, and then these dry ones come off. So dry ones, I just let fall. I'm going to try to get some off now. Let's go. And I put it in the jar. I let it dry. I let it dry for a day or two, and then I put it in a jar in the kitchen, which you guys have seen in previous videos. Then you get the seeds from there. But this plant always has friends and things attached to it. And it's like, I feel like it's attracting animals. So I wanted to move it out of this section completely, but it needs a lot of light, and I don't know where to put it. That's a lot of light that won't be near other plants. So I'm trying to figure out now. But for now, I'm just gonna cut off some of these limbs because it is a very large plant. It's massive. I'm gonna do a little pruning. This is our hibiscus. Oh, this tea is so good. The tea is so good. So yeah, these leaves I used to make tea. I let them dry, put them in a jar, and I make the tea. Then you have these little bulbs here. But yeah, this plant, oh my goodness. Let's see. Problem number one. They have everything growing on it. Checking to see if I can clip this. It's always something with this plant. So then we got to cut off these. All right, we are harvesting. We don't want to get carried away, then I'll be here all day. And we're just harvesting and, and cooking our soup. Just while I was here, I was going to cut off some of these. I don't know if it's too cold. You know, if it's too cold for this plant, which I'm starting to think, because it didn't grow the entire time it was in. Let me cut it back. The entire time I had it trying to grow before, in the winter, last winter. So I'm starting to think it might be a little chilly for it. However, maybe not, because the other one is actually on the window and it's not a little chilly for it. This plant is, the roots are massive, the trunk is massive. This is the neck. It's a huge plant down there, and it's ready to go into a pot, and then fall back to winter and then grow back for summer. So we're gonna do that. I think that's the plan for this plant going forward. Just not in this video. We're here to harvest and get our food harvested, because if we digress, and the video is gonna be like 20 hours long. I go check on our soup. All right, so we have some sage growing. So this one, there's a lot of stuff happening here. We got some chives. This is another one of our original plants. When you start to see a lot of, these are chives. When you start to see a lot of little dry spots, whoops, the plant is fully grown and over using the space. So it's gotten all that it can get and some. So that means it's time to cut back the plant a little bit. So we're going to cut back our chives and let them grow out. There we go. They just keep growing. These, so we got quite a lot of chives here. These plants are, these chives also over a year, and they just keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. This mustard is new. Let's harvest some of the Swiss chard. This is a good hearty way to add some veggies. This Swiss chard has been here again for over a year. So we had some plants that's been growing. These are our day ones in our garden from day one. The red Swiss chard. The yellow one we just put there. This pepper plant, again, another day one. I leave the peppers on there until I'm ready to eat them. I don't usually harvest them until I'm absolutely ready to eat them, and then I harvest it immediately because they tend to dry out. So the tomatoes and the peppers stay on. I like to keep the fruits on. This is our spinach. Let's get this spinach. This the big leaves down. This, you know, it looks like something has been bothering them. So this is not good when it's too bushy. Then, you know, stuff, you know, sets up their home there, and then you don't know what's in there because there's so much wilderness. And then it comes down and you're like, where did this come from? It's been living there the whole time, but you just couldn't see it. So let's get these plants a little thinned so we get some air in there and make sure we can see what's going on. Our soup is smelling great in the background. We do have carrots growing again, but I am keeping this soup as low carb as possible today. We've been having a lot of fun. The holiday season is not just the holiday, it's all the other days. Look, I didn't even know this leaf was so big. This leaf is massive. Also, once you harvest your plants, some other plants that were struggling sometimes start to get light. I know there is some lavender back here. I can't see it because we have so many plants that are just eating up the light and so aggressive. This one, the leaves are short. Some sort of short leaf spinach. We're gonna call these. So we got our, so we got, there we go. See, our lavender here is just pressed up against the wall because it cannot, it's fighting against all these plants, all this celery. So we're gonna harvest this celery. We're gonna juice it because this celery is definitely taking, it's a lot of celery. We put some in our soup and we're gonna juice the rest. But I'm looking, I think I may juice tomorrow because I'm ready to drink the soup today, which is on warming. We have leftovers from yesterday and give the kids. Probably not gonna also drink juice too. So let me just get this down. And I like the juice to be fresh. So we're gonna leave the celery on just for one day. And tomorrow, when we go live, we'll make some juice. You see, all this is celery. So our pink celery is really good. Whoops, we don't want to rough up our lavender too much. There we go. So we're going to make juice with this. There we go. Excellent. We're leaving our lettuces on for salad. They are blooming very big. So tomorrow we'll have juice and a salad, a large salad. The kids will have their pasta and ground beef. We will have this lettuce is going to flower. This one has been holding it down for the whole winter. Let's take it out. And it has made it. It has went to flower. So there, as you can see, the flowers are, let me just take it out because it's really hard. Just trying to get the camera in there. This lettuce has gone to flower. Let's pull it out. Here it is. This lettuce is our Tokyo Benia. It's been here growing for the entire summer. And we got our flowers starting here. Look how long, how much we've been harvesting. All these are lettuce stems that we've been harvesting this whole time. And so the main shoot has went to flower. It's starting to bolt. You can see the neck is, how you can see is bolting. The neck is, the spaces are wide in between each harvesting leaf. So as you can see here, they're tight. So this is when it's in its prime. And then here you have a half an inch between the last leaf and this one. So it has bolted. We're going to take these last leaves off. This is very good. Usually I put it to seed, but it is freezing outside. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I might plant it and let it seed, but it's cold. So it'll be seeding in the house. Also, these lettuce plants grow really tall. So when I do leave them to seed outside, they grow to be, so we're just going to get rid of this. We're going to put it in our compost bin. When I leave this lettuce seed to plant the seed outside, they grow to be, I could stand up straight and touch the seeds. They grow to be like my elbow height, probably about 4 feet, 3 feet tall. So 3 feet in the garden is a lot. So we're going to take this one out. The roots are very healthy. The plant is healthy. It has just reached its time, its life cycle, and has gone to seed. So, but this plant did very good. It was very good. It took us through the entire summer. Look how healthy these roots are. I cut it, and it's still, and it thrived. This lettuce is very good. I'm gonna take some leaves off, and then we're gonna put this in. I don't know what we have growing here. I think one of these are mustard. Oh, these are pepper plants. We had none of these are mustard. So I was gonna put one of our mustard plants in there because I wanted mustard in there. But what we can do, because it is so full in here, is take one of these plants out of this corner and move it over. So we got some plants that are in that corner fighting the good fight. So we're going to take one of those out, or even the lettuce. You have our lettuce column here. Let's take this lettuce out. So this is that was when a plant goes to bolt and it goes to seed. So it's going to be producing seeds, but it takes very long. So, you can keep it and let it produce seeds or not. I'm going to take it out because they grow very tall. So when they do produce seeds, I usually let them produce seeds in another area, usually in the front yard. Oh, these plants are just savage in here. Okay, let's see. So I'm taking out this breen, give it some room to grow out here on the lettuce row. I like the lettuce out here because it makes it very easy to access and make salads. But when you look in there are tons of roots. So they were at war in there. I'm surprised this breen got so far. I don't even know who roots that is. Let's take them out. I usually get a fork and twirl it. So let me go get a fork so we can twirl out those roots, or a knife or anything to twirl them out. Soup is smelling really good. But let's get this fork in there and get our roots out. Whose roots they are, no one knows. Is that the spinach? There are roots growing in all directions from everyone. There's nothing wrong with this per se, but it does. Sometimes it goes into the plant and then steals the other plant's nutrients, so the other plant doesn't get the nutrients it needs. So we're just gonna get these roots out of here. And then that's when you have one plant doing extremely well and then the other plants there struggling. And then you don't know what's causing it to struggle. Let's see who is next door. What do you call it guys next door? Our celery. So this is probably why we have so much celery. Oh no, somebody's drinking the celery's food too. Huh. Interesting. There's a ton of roots in the celery's area. The celery was also being robbed of nutrients. So there's roots growing in here as well. Again, just to make it easy, I just use my fork and just twirl it. These are strong roots growing here. What if it's a tomato? We're going to check the tomato. We're just going to go right up the column and see. As you can see, there's a lot of root growth in here. So yeah, that's how I get the roots out. Very easy. I just twirl it. Again, it's okay, these roots growing in here, but sometimes it hinders the growth of other plants and they start to kind of weaken or pass on. Is this a spinach? Because the spinach didn't look like it was doing this well to have this made. Well, yes, it is a spinach. Look at our spinach. Wow. Wow. Spinach is not even producing that many leaves. The other spinach on the other side has massive leaves growing. And maybe the other plants were robbing the spinach. Because the other one has huge leaves and doesn't have this much extra root growth. All right, so these roots grew outside and not inside of the thing. So we're just gonna, now I'm looking. These roots grew outside. We went from harvesting root check to everything else. And this is what takes long when you sidetrack. Go on side quest. We're supposed to grow in here. It looks like it's empty in here. I mean, it's not that full. You just pull this off. There we go. I'm just going to pull them off and tuck in these in there. I wonder if there's anything else. Maybe they're bothering the lavender because the lavender has been small for a while. So let me just put this here. Cool thing about these is you can just stand them right up. Even though they're growing sideways, they just stand right up easily. So let's get this out. And then we got a little bit in there. We have so many flowers on our tomato plant, new tomatoes. I don't want to get our tomato plant tangled up here. See, is there anything else? Oh, see, look, this plant is doing well. Nothing's in there. Yeah, this is our spinach. That was just, and the leaves weren't even that tall. The stem is really big. The leaves, not so tall. Got some, it has clogged the water holder, so it's holding on to the water right here. And it's growing down the length of the pipes. It's really, really on there. It's growing down the length of the, and we got a lot of tomatoes on it. And I'm trying not to disturb them. That little method here. But all tomato plants, count yourself disturbed. Got a lot of tomatoes. So we're just gonna get this last bit of roots up. These roots are so in there. Feels like I need a metal fork. Because as I'm pulling them, they're on two different levels, these roots. They're not on just one level like usually. These roots went from here. Let's see if there's some more coming down here. This is why the majority of it is down here in this tube here. Wow, we should have had a whole root check video. Well, that's the benefit of joining live. Get into the roots. These spinach roots went so deep, and I'm surprised because the spinach plant is not producing giant leaves. But also the other plants weren't too disturbed by the spinach plant leaves, so there's a possibility, although the spinach roots were going so far, other plants were eating. Were taking their nutrients. They weren't being robbed. They were like, oh, you want to come here? All right, we can share. I don't like to leave the roots in here unattached because then it's just dead matter. Don't want dead matter in there, in the water. It's just going to basically rot in there. So I don't like rotting plant matter in there. There's just one root piece in here that we're trying to get out. So we had a root cause. So these are several plants here that were affected by one plant's growing its roots past its designated area. So let's see. So there we go. That's our last root area. It's our last roots that came out. So we got a lot of roots. So our spinach plant roots, this is all the roots from the spinach plant right here on the table. And it was interfering with 3 different other plants growing. All right, so now we're going to put our plants back Our spinach plant, it has a really, well, you know, this spinach plant is pretty old. But the spinach plants go pretty long. They don't go. I'm going to put it over here, this side. I'm also going to put the root inside so it doesn't keep going out. I'm going to put this spinach plant on the side here so that we could get a little longer stems. On the side, it's going to have to grow back around and reach the light. So we're going to put our spinach plant there. And then, oh, well, that's what I was doing with the celery. I guess the celery has to go there because the celery is very large. Oh, well, you know what? It can go here. The thyme doesn't need too much light. The lavender doesn't either, but let's let our celery grow here for a little while. It's only going to be for a day or two because we are going to make some juice very soon. For our lavender here, our lavender and our tomato plant can hang out together. The tomato gentle and can give our lavender the shade it needs. Because this is the best the lavender was doing, hiding behind our celery. We're going to be cutting back the celery soon, so it's okay. And then we got our thyme. And our pepper plant doing good here. And we have our empty space here, which we're going to probably, there's kale in here in this mix, this bundle of stuff. So I might bring the kale out. Everything's definitely growing intertwined each other. This is basil. What is this? This is a tomato plant that's growing straight up from all the way down here. We have our Goliath pepper plant giving us tons of Goliath peppers. And then we have down here, we have our kale. And we have our hibiscus on this side too. So we have 2 hibiscus plants. I'm going to take the kale out because the kale is not making it. The hibiscus plant was literally laying down on the kale. So let's give this kale some time to grow a little stronger so that I can thin it. And well, it's supposed to go outside, but it's not time to go outside yet. There we go. I didn't know you guys were getting, the curtain was unfocusing you guys. So we moved the kale up here. So this plant, these babies right here are kale. I planted them small so they can go outside, but they haven't been getting any light. Our hibiscus plant was literally laying down on it. So we're just going to put the empty spot there where the kale was and cover it. So we got a little open spot. And then when our peppers grow in, we'll put it there. Again, our rosemary smells so good all the time. So yeah, so we have our peppers down here, which are growing pretty large. I'll show you guys just while we're here. Then we're gonna go check on our soup. There we go. Yeah, our peppers are growing pretty large down here. Quite a few of them. 3 or 4. Another pepper back here. So all of our peppers growing. Our mint. This is our mint right here. So we're gonna try to keep this clear. And again, I'm gonna put both of these hibiscus plants in a container together. Probably in another video very soon, because they are getting pretty large. For this system, it's not that they're too big to be supported, but for me, they're so large they are kind of impeding in the other plant's space. So our hibiscus plant starts over here and it grew all the way across this way, and it's coming down here, and again it was resting on the kale. All type of stuff is going on here with this hibiscus. So we are gonna get this in its own pot. So stay tuned for that. Look out for that. We're gonna be putting that in its own pot. Hi, good mornings. Hi. We got our team member. So we got added in the team. So this is we had our bolted lettuce that we found out that is bolted. So we are going to send that to our compost. We got spinach. We got Swiss chard, lots of chives. We got our plants, our roots on this one is doing pretty good. And then we are going to be freezing our, we're gonna dry out some and freeze some of our red sorrel for some seasoning. It has a nice lemony flavor. And we're gonna put that spinach in the refrigerator for tomorrow because they asked for some noodles and some ground, a meal that they like. So we're gonna put that in there for the kids because that's their meal. So thank you very much for joining today. It's been Angeline and the team. We did a lot of stuff today. Thank you very much for joining. We did our little mini harvest. We put our soup on to cook, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget, for more information, go to AV Gardening. Thank you very much, Cultivators, for being on the Patreon. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.